we relaxed a lot more, and now we're probably too relaxed. I mean, the 12-year-old is what
Just smoking cigarettes, just cursing at the bars. Hand me one. Let's go. What's up? It's Michael Yo. Welcome to the Yo Show. You know, my Miami Hurricanes won last night.
I didn't, but congratulations.
You're not a college football fan, are you?
Not really. Sorry.
Are you a sports fan at all?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you like? Hockey.
No.
Oh, okay. You look like a hockey guy.
I do.
You look like a player. Like you could look like, because we had some of the Golden Knights come the other night. Yeah. And you fit right in. You got that look of a hockey player, you know?
Yeah. Who's let himself go?
I didn't want to say anything. I just was like, hey, man, the look. You know, you got the beard and the hair. You know.
Like, see that chubby dude? He used to be a hell of a goalie.
Right. What's your favorite sport?
Baseball, because I'm 49 and white.
Oh.
Baseball, big Seattle Mariners fan. I am a Seahawks. I'm from Washington State, so I'm a Seahawks fan too. But the college never got me, man.
Really, man, you know why I love college football? I was a reporter. I had to go to these games to report, interview the celebrities and stuff. And most of the people at these Super Bowl, you have hardcore fans, but a lot of them were just, I'm at a Super Bowl type of people. They could care less about the. With college football, I feel like everybody there wants their team to win bad. I just love the atmosphere.
I know. I've been watching, I think it's Virginia Tech. They come out to Enter Sandman.
Oh.
Have you been seeing? I've been watching those TikToks. I get chills, man.
Dude,
I get chills.
Have you heard the one with the kids singing this football chant? They go, we are ready. We are ready. We ready. For you. Oh, it's like
I love that.
I listen to it and get chills every time.
Yeah.
It's like right before they run out. It's a high school football game. I'm like, that is that chant is incredible. If you ever feel down, listen to that chant. Listen to that chant. Gabriel Rutledge is here. Comedian, amazing comedian, first of all.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that.
Because, I'm at the Cellar pretty much every day. This week, the lineup was insane.
Strongest one I've been a part of.
It was a level of, you really can't work on new stuff. Because you gotta, this was a lineup where everybody, because it starts with Trix. Trix is a beast. So he starts the show and it's the energy side. Then Caitlin was like, well, I can't, I gotta go out and do my thing. So, and then Gabriel's like, well, Caitlin did her thing. And then I hear Gabriel and I'm like, well, I guess all the new material goes out the window.
I know. It's definitely one of those things where, and I'm less established, so I'm a little more, I'm hesitant to try out newer stuff, But it's also I'm starting to do it a little bit. But again, this week, you're just listening to someone crush, and you're like, all right, here we go. I'm getting hyped like I'm going to play sports. You know what I mean?
What's interesting to me about you that I noticed this week, when Caitlin's on Crush, you like to stand and watch. When somebody's crushing, I don't like to stand and watch. You like to actually absorb it. Why is that, and what does that do for you?
I think sometimes if there's a thing that happens with audience interaction, I want to know about it, just in case it comes up or I need to reference it. But I don't think it's that important to me. Because I've definitely rolled up with knowing nothing, having seen nothing before. But every once in a while, it's nice to just make a quick
check in to see.
A quick reference, or if one of my jokes hit something that came up with crowd work earlier or something like that. But
that's called good experience. I maybe I should do stuff like that. Check in with the comedian before me. I know your ching ching joke or ting ting. He does this Coinstar joke that's amazing. Was that now you just released or not long ago a Dry Bar special, right?
Yeah.
Did you put the Coinstar joke in that?
No. I just recorded a special that'll be out sometime. It'll be on that one. But
good.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how you got into comedy.
Okay.
So how old were you? Because we're about the same age. So how long ago did you start?
I started in 2000.
Okay.
So I'm coming up. October will be 23 years. I started in Seattle. I was almost 27, but 26 years old.
Yeah.
My band, I was a drummer in a punk rock band.
You have that look as well.
Yes, I do.
Hockey/band. Yeah, I like it.
Online, I get a lot of comments of different shitty versions of Dave Grohl that I look like.
You do. I was about to say
Yeah.
that. Yes. I'll just title I'm interviewing Dave Grohl 20 years from now.
The only thing that bothers me is it's like Dave Grohl's older than me, and he also doesn't look like he used to.
Yeah.
So when people are like, "Oh, it looks like David," and like,
but you look like the younger version of Dave Grohl.
well, I appreciate that. Can I tell you my favorite Dave Grohl comment I ever got?
Yes.
I don't know when people got so damn funny, just people online, but everything's a roast battle I didn't ask to be in. But somebody put, this guy looks like Dave Grohl if he slept with his eyes open. And I was like, damn.
Wow. Dude, you know what? The internet always wins. Like, there's always somebody there that's like, they say something and you're like, wow, they brought it, bro.
I know.
They brought it. And I love that. I love that. A lot of people, some of them get mean, but the ones that hit like that, oh, and you'll remember for the rest of your life.
I'm getting used to it. Because I did comedy a long time before anyone noticed. Like online. Do you know what I mean?
If they are making comments, that means they're actually finally paying attention to you. I've learned that over the last year, in a couple months after my special came out. I was like, now I'm getting comparisons to different comedians.
Yeah.
And before, nobody cared.
Yeah.
You know, so you kind of, what's interesting about comedy to me is you kind of float around comedy. And then you're hoping for that one project, but once you get that one project, you're hoping for another one, and it's just built. It's a ladder. You keep climbing. Have you found it? Like you said, you've been doing it a while, and nobody's noticed except right now. Was that frustrating to you? And did you ever want to quit?
Oh, sure. I wanted to. Well, I never wanted to quit. I thought I should quit, but that was quite a while ago.
Like how long ago, and why did this happen? Was it a bad weekend? Was it like you were just making $25 a set and you're like, this is it for the rest of my life?
I mean, when you start, I live in Olympia, Washington,
Yeah.
which isn't even Seattle. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, it's a small spot. So it's like, if you start comedy in the Northwest, there's no industry. There's no like, management. There's no, I'm going to a pitch meeting. There's no showcases. It's just like, there are clubs that are great, but it's also, when I started, you just go on the road. And what that meant in the beginning was like, whatever, cowboy bars in Montana and Idaho and Wyoming. And so it was like, during that time, there were times where it was like, okay, if this is what stand-up comedy is, I think I can do what I need to do to make them laugh, but I don't know if I want to be that person. I don't want to be the comic that is like, get that guy in a rowdy cowboy bar and he kicks ass. And I'm like,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I kind of felt myself. It's hard to explain if you're not a comic, because sometimes you get a laugh and it still doesn't feel right.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Like I had one joke that happened to, and you're like, it's kind of a Dave Chappelle moment where he said he took it, like he left the Chappelle show because he felt like people were laughing at the wrong things and not getting the message. But I understand what you say. Also, you don't want to be like, he's great in bars, but he can't do anything in clubs.
Yeah, exactly.
And I didn't experience, because I started in 2012. So I didn't experience that early, the road dogs. They call them road dogs.
Yeah.
Like that's the only way. It's either late night or you just hit the clubs. And now it's interesting. Those clubs, all about selling tickets, and not really developing a lot of talent anymore because they can't afford to, because the people that are hitting, their prices are so much more than before, So how's that journey been for you?
Well, it's when you've been doing it a while, it's like, I remember my first TV credit, Comedy Central, live at Gotham. I mailed a DVD to a building where someone watched it, and then I got selected to be on. I mean, this sounds like, and then I took the wagon train home. You know what I mean? This is like 2009. So it's like I've seen so many.
And how'd that set go?
Good.
Did you feel good about it?
I did.
Okay,
I did
good.
feel good about it. I did feel good about it. First TV thing, not that I've done a ton, but it definitely was like, it just feels mostly relief. That's all it was, is after the taping, it was like, that wasn't a disaster. Was it the greatest set of my life? No, but it was fine. You know what I mean? It's like, you're just like, ooh. But man, Dane Cook, the whole MySpace thing, and there's always like this thing we're supposed to be chasing or adapting to. And I definitely feel when I look back, I'm like, well, everything that happened, I was still doing comedy. I was still, do you know what I mean? I was still doing okay. I'm doing better now.
Yeah.
But it's still like, I don't want to go back to doing shit kicker cowboy bars.
Yeah.
But it is like, you know, in the way that I think if someone starts comedy now, they go, if I get big enough online, I'll be able to tour.
Yes.
And I am left over from a time where you just toured, even though no one knew who the hell you were.
But clubs were giving you opportunities too. Now they don't do that, and it makes it tougher.
Clubs are just a building now. It's just a building where people can sell tickets. You know what I mean? It's
you know what? And I worked at a company. It was Clear Channel at the time. Now it's iHeart, and it was a thing where I saw so many people get blown out. And things got smaller and smaller, and then it became automated. And then one DJ would do the rest of the country.
Yep.
And I remember I was talking to one of my friends, and he goes, if you make this cut right now, you're going to be in it forever, because they're weeding out everybody and they're not letting new talent develop. Now, I know in LA, there's a plethora. It's almost like if you're a new talent and you haven't blown up online, you have to work LA or New York just to get up, or maybe Denver. I would say Denver's another case where they got a great comedy environment. You kind of got to work in those 3 cities. In Austin now with Rogan, one of those cities, or Vegas, because there's lots of clubs. So there's 4 options that have a lot of places where you can go up and get better. I don't know about excuse me if I'm missing other places, but I feel like those 4 give you a lot of opportunity.
Sure. I mean, in Seattle, you can get a lot of stage time.
Oh, okay. That's
you can.
Good.
It's just what's good and bad about it is no one's going to notice.
Mm-hmm.
But that can be good, because if you start in LA and it's like, it's almost, you need a place to be hidden for a while.
Yeah,
you know what
do.
I mean? You need a place to and then pop out like, look how good I am, instead of like they're watching your whole process.
Yeah.
But yeah, I you know, I'm almost 50, and you talk about all the different changes and everything, and it's like sometimes I said to my wife, I don't know how many more changes I have in me, where it's like whatever the next thing is, I might just be like, yeah.
But like if comedy went away, what would you do? Have you ever, like, I get nervous. I don't know what I would do.
I don't know what COVID happened, right?
Yeah.
And that hit me right in the fucking face, man.
Yeah, it hit everybody.
Because it was like, what's my resume with a 20-year gap of, like, the last job I had, I delivered Mexican food, and it was like when COVID started, I was doing Zoom shows, I was doing a few shows and places still open, but it was like I was delivering groceries for Walmart in 2020.
Wow. Okay. During COVID.
During COVID.
Okay.
So it was sort of like, in a weird way, because it was kind of similar to the jobs I had before comedy. It felt very normal, but it also at the same time, I'm like, if I quit comedy, this is what I'm qualified for.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's one of those things where I'm like, I mean, first of all, I don't think I would ever quit unless the industry made me quit.
Yeah.
You know, but it's the thing where it's really, you have nothing. Like, I don't know what I would do. I mean, there's just nothing there besides comedy.
The industry is never going to make you quit.
No.
Because this is how I look at it.
Well, it can make you so frustrated.
Right.
Where you're like, but I think the older you get, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it used to be, why'd that person get that opportunity? Why this?
Yeah.
Why not me? And then when you get older, it's kind of like, oh, good for them. Let me keep working and make my stuff. Because no matter what you think of them, you're still in the same place.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you also see people blow up. They're too big for clubs. You see them when they're back in the club.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There's a cycle to it. And but, you know, I'll speak on your behalf. Like, the reason you're going to do comedy forever at some level of success is because you can do it. And that sounds stupid, but like, you can walk into a room full of people, kick the shit out of the room, and That's a very specific, valuable skill that not that many people have, even in our business.
Yes.
So it's like there's no way that the reason I don't quit is because I can do it. Like
No,
once you
not
have
just,
that.
not just, and I'll say the same, not just do it, destroy.
Yeah.
And like I said, we all work at different clubs. You know what's very humbling about, well, I'm not tooting our horns, but what's very humbling is when you travel and use local openers and you see the difference. Like I told my friend Mike Yard, who's a phenomenal comic out of New York, right? He came in. I was talking to him and I go, it's so interesting to see the best comics in the world from the Comedy Cellar and other places, but there's still levels.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's still levels to that where you can go to the cellar, everybody does well, but not everybody crushes. Everybody does, wow, they're great. But
Yeah.
not, I mean, there's just a difference when you just destroy. You know what I mean? And I feel like you have that talent where I've never seen you do bad. You know what I mean? And you just know, it must be comforting. And I'm going to ask you this. It must be comforting to know you can go on stage and really do well every single time. The comfort in that. And it's not an ego thing. It's just you work so hard to be able to do it.
No, I don't think of it as an ego thing too. I think there are some exceptions, but for the most part, it's going to be good to great.
Yeah.
If it's set up, it's a comedy club, people are there for you, or maybe not specifically, but they're there for comedy. Yeah, I actually have a tremendous amount of self-confidence in stand-up comedy. Other things in my life, not at all.
Okay, what's something you don't have confidence in?
Even offstage comedy things, I don't have confidence in.
Yeah.
I don't have confidence in, sort of, I have some I struggle with some sort of almost fear of success or like.
Do you really?
Yeah, not so much now, but I definitely, I'm from Olympia. Anytime I would get around like these festivals and stuff, I'd have this chip on my shoulder that wasn't to the other people, but just like I'm not in the fucking industry. You know what I mean? I'm just
Yeah.
And it's like,
I'm not a sellout,
yeah,
but I want to sell out.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. That was what my punk rock band used to say too. We'll never sign with a major label. Like, did anyone offer? No, not even close. But it is. I don't always think I'm doing the right thing, but it's so funny because in the beginning of stand-up comedy, it's terrifying. But then 23 years in, I wish I was the person off stage that I am on stage. I like that guy.
Well, you know what's interesting? I know what I'm terrible at. I feel on stage I'm very confident, but I'm a terrible podcast guest if you have a racy podcast.
Oh,
but
okay.
I'm a great podcast guest on like pop culture things, or if you want to talk about how great your family is.
Yeah.
But if I could never be on like a Bobby Lee show or just those type of podcasts.
Yeah.
Like I don't give up information. I'm really private. So I'm terrible on those. Like Rogan, I did well because I talked about almost dying. You know what I mean? That's the only time. That's the only time I'm good on something, But like I get asked to do podcasts all the time, but I know.
You're like, I don't have.
I'm a horrible, I'm not going to give you anything that's a clip.
Yeah.
And that's a problem, not even I'm not really funny in real life. Like I won't crack jokes in real life. It's just a stage thing where all my thoughts and funny thoughts come out on stage.
Yeah.
But I'm not the guy like Joe Coy. That dude crushes in real life and on stage. Not like I'm not that dude. How are you? Are you? Where are you at on this?
Actually, off stage, I'm sort of. I don't need to be on all the time. I definitely am not a guy who needs to be on.
Well,
all the
being
time.
on is one thing, but just being funny naturally. Like just in natural environment is different. I've seen those comics.
Yeah.
That are on all of that. It's annoying.
I turn it on and off. My wife, when I started comedy, she was like, you used to be fun at parties. Because I needed it, right?
Yeah.
I would go in like, hi, hey, and then as a stand-up comic, I go to a party now. And I'm like, how much attention do I fucking need?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I just did 14 shows at the Comedy Cellar. I got to go into this party and make jokes about the hummus? Like I got to relax. You know what I mean? sometimes my wife is like, you know what I mean? Like,
your
let's
wife is
go.
like, amp it up.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
go. They invited us for a reason.
That's right.
We are the party.
She's like, it's so hard to be married to a comedian. Let me have some benefit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Let me show you off a little bit.
You know, speaking about that, I mean, I remember when I got in, went comedy full time, we took a big financial hit. But I guess you've been with your wife ever since you started high school, right?
I knew her in
Sweethearts?
high school, but we kind of got together at 19.
Okay, so she was there when you first started comedy, so that must have made it easier.
In some ways, because I had restaurant jobs and I was in a band, and so going from being in a band to being a stand-up comic is, in some ways, actually a more financially sound business decision.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because the first time I went on the road, a couple hours from my house probably, and they're like, you get a hotel room and $100. I was like, you've got to be shitting me. Because the band was like, well, there's $67 and you got to split it 3 ways.
Oh my
and there's no
gosh.
hotel, So it was like, I'm like, oh, this is like way more legit.
Yeah, you're big time now.
Yeah,
You got $100 and a hotel room?
Yeah,
Come
I
on
know.
now.
I know, but it's to my wife's credit. You know what I mean? I mean, she married a punk rock drummer and then she stayed married to a comedian. Like, God bless.
So when'd you know you were funny leaving? Like, while you were in the band, were you going up practicing comedy, or
No,
you just cut it cold, or?
It was kind of winding down.
Got you. The
Yeah,
67 went to $50, and y'all were like, yo, man, we can't keep splitting this 3 ways.
It wasn't even about money. It was just I felt myself go from a guy in a band who works at a restaurant to a guy at a restaurant who's also in a band. It's like with age. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when I look back, I was only 26. But
Yeah.
when I'd done it from 18 to 26, I'm like, you can start thinking like maybe we want to have kids. Like this is not sustainable.
And how long were you married when you were 26?
3 years.
3 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then I just there was no sense of like, I'm going to be a professional comedian. It was just sort of a bucket list. Hey, I want to try it. And then, like a lot of people end up doing this forever. That first time, that laughter washes over you like a hug from the universe, man.
It is,
and you're just
man.
like, oh, I'll ruin my life to keep this going.
It's such an amazing. You know what's so amazing about it is it's this intoxicating feeling because you never feel all those senses at once anytime in life except on stage, especially when you're nervous or excited about an opportunity.
Yeah.
And I've said this before on the podcast, so please excuse me, but you could be on stage saying your bit, thinking about something else, hearing a conversation,
Yes.
watching another person saying, why isn't that guy having fun? Like all these things are happening while you're doing your stand-up. And I don't know any time in life that happens except on stage where all your senses are that high. It's almost like you're outside of your body doing it,
Absolutely. And I think that's, is that Zen? Is that what Zen means?
It must be, especially when you fucking destroying one night. And it's just like, it feels, I tell people, it's like I would think it's like being a gladiator and actually making it, like winning the battle.
Yeah.
You're just like, rah,
That's, all the stand-up comedy terms are like the battle terms. I killed, I destroyed, I annihilated,
crushed it,
or I bombed.
Yeah.
Or even on the bad end, it does feel like, we talk about it like it is battle, but it is, there is that.
It is a battle. It's you again. I don't
Yeah.
want to say it's you against the audience, but so many people come to a comedy show and their attitude is not, I want to laugh, it's make me laugh.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
So, I mean, it is, it's you against them.
It's that compliment after a show where they're like, I didn't even want to come, or I didn't. I usually don't laugh. People who say that, you're like, do you think that's a good character trait?
And you shouldn't be bragging about that. Like, I usually don't laugh.
Yeah,
oh, so you're miserable in real life. Okay, thank you for that.
Yeah, just all day.
Yeah.
Oh, watching funny movies. Oh, like what is?
The worst comedy fan. I don't laugh. All right. Yeah. And what blows me away is those people that sit in the front row or just the laughers that don't laugh, but they make the motion and they cover their laugh, like they hold it in. It's like, what are you doing, man?
That hold in your laugh. I saw that this week.
Yeah.
This week, one of our lightest attended shows, I looked down and this lady in the front.
Yes. Yeah. She was like,
and I'm like, no, please let it out. We need you.
Yes, we do. We need you because this is ridiculous to hold in it. Don't go to a comedy club to hold in your laugh. That's like having 1.5 kids but holding in your. You're like, it just doesn't work. Let it out. Let it out.
It's absolutely true, and it's funny too because like it's weird that different chemistry of an audience every single night. Of like, you ever have like your best laugher in the room go to the bathroom? And then the whole vibe changes, man. Changes. It's not like it goes to zero, but you're like, I hope they're just peeing because
because this is not as good.
They were the laugh leader. The laugh leader left. You know what I mean?
No, what's crazy is that the audience is it feels crazy that you could do a great show. And you feel you did great, but the audience didn't react the way you want. But you're like, okay, the show was good. But then after, they're like so excited to talk to you and tell you how much they loved the show. When you're feeling kind of like, was that good? Was it okay? I think it was okay. And then they reconfirm it, but like reconfirm it like it was one of the best things I've ever seen, which is crazy.
Even some guy with folded arms the whole show who was like, that was the greatest show I've ever seen. You're like, what?
Because you look miserable. And what's so crazy, I don't know what it is, but every time somebody just sits there, the light is always shining on them where they stick out. It never fails. The one person that's having the most miserable time, they sit them under a light where the whole show you just see. I was in San. It's so true.
They have their own. You just everyone's laughing. You look, they're under a light. You just hear like. Burr, 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 burr.
They have the miserable light.
Yeah, exactly.
We wanna lighten this person. But anyway, there was this dude in San Francisco. I was doing a show. Like you could tell he was a gangster, right? He had tattoos on his face, and he sat in the middle. Whole show he was like this, just stone face. Whole show. He comes up to me after, goes, hey, fucker. He goes, that's the best show I've ever seen. I go, you didn't laugh. He goes, I laugh inside. I was like, oh my God, okay.
Dang.
Bye.
Dang.
Yeah. What's your worst thing that's ever happened on stage for you?
I've done shows that were so bad, but it was sort of funny even as they were happening because they should have been bad. Like, I did a show at a convalescent home, which is like nursing home, but like even like almost hospice. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it was like, so yeah, I was definitely.
How many times did you bring up the word kill or die in that show?
I hope none.
No, you're like, man, I'm killing this show.
Some nurse runs in. What?
Kill? Die?
Code red?
Oh, I'm dying up here.
So even that was like, I mean, it was like severely. It was Alzheimer's patients. It was like, and so.
I'm sorry. We'll cut that part I just said if it was me. Sorry.
No, it's funny because they I'm just, there was one lady laughing like hysterically. And then I realized like 10 minutes in, it's not about me. That's just her move.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? She just laughs and then she fell dead asleep. And I was like, I'm going to miss her.
The laugh leader.
The laugh leader fell
gone.
dead asleep. Also, there was a guy in the front.
Dead asleep. Okay.
And he was in. You don't realize that the sound of a Little Rascal scooter is loud until some guy has to do a 98-point turn in front of the stage to get out of there. Also, where's he going? They're like, we got you guys entertainment. We got professional comedy. And he's like, fuck it. I'm going back to my room.
Yeah, he's just out.
So like, yeah, I was bombing and it was terrible. But even in the moment, I was laughing. Like,
that's great.
You know what I mean? Like, this is silly.
Because there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It is what it is. Since you've been married, how old are your kids?
21, 15, and 12.
Okay, 12. The 12-year-old, because right now, our kids are 6 and 3, and I go, we don't want a third. Like my wife, we decide because we don't want to. We love our 2 kids, and it's hard to start all over. Did you make that? And I want to say your kid's not like. Was it a choice or was?
No.
Because that's a long gap, bro.
Yeah. That was like a we won't say accident, we'll say surprise.
Surprise. A beautiful surprise.
Yeah. And of course, once it happens, you can't imagine your life
without
it, and how the chemistry, how the family changed, and but it definitely, at that time was like, oh man, okay. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay. Because it's once you get out of the diapers, once you get out of it's hard to go back to that world. You're carting around strollers and diaper bags. And once you're out of that, you don't look, man, once you stop wiping asses.
Yes.
It's a whole brave new world. It's like you don't want to go back. So it was like really hard. And also, I swear every baby, because it was like there's a bigger gap between 21 and 15, every baby was like, they would hand me the baby and I'd be like, I don't know how to do this. And I just did it. I just did it with another one.
Yeah.
So it was it's definitely.
Has your parenting, because I've always wanted to hear a take from you, your parenting style with each kid. Did it change?
Yeah.
Or was it the same? Because I think you could write some brilliant material about that. Or maybe you have, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I have, but first kid, we were very like, we're not going to swear in front of him. We're not going to let him watch inappropriate things. We're going to
Is this ever?
Cut down.
Like, we're not going to swear ever, let him watch ever, or just like.
No, just limits or certain things that weren't appropriate. And we kind of made a prude.
Yeah. The 21-year-old's a prude.
Yeah. I say this in my act, but he was like, before he was 21, he's like, I might drink alcohol when it's legal, but I'm leaning towards never drink. And I was just like, what a dork. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, so we kind of like, it definitely, as we relaxed a lot more as the kids. And now we're probably too relaxed. I mean, the 12-year-old just watches South Park
smoking
all
cigarettes,
day.
just cursing at the bars.
Yeah.
Hand me one. Let's go.
I'll say this because I was very nervous about, I've done a lot of jokes about my kids over the years, and I was very nervous. I had jokes about my son being terrible at soccer when he was like little, and I would always be a little bit like, ugh.
They're going to watch it.
And man, if anything, they fight for more jokes about them.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, because I say a lot of jokes about my kids, and there's one where I kind of compare the new stuff I wrote. I compare my son to my daughter, and I'm like, my wife always says, "Remember, they're gonna watch it one day. Remember, you don't want to say anything mean." So it's just a funny thing where, a father loves his kids, but it's different. Like a good parent gives different love to each one. They know what they need. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And if you have a daughter, it's way different than a son. Not the level of love, it's just the direction of the love. You know what I mean? So I have jokes about that, and I'm like, my wife keeps saying, "Remember, they're gonna watch it." But it feels good that you said, "Oh, they actually like it."
Yeah, they do, and also they know their jokes. Like I had a thing happen recently that I ended up showing my kids because I kind of wanted it to be like an internet lesson.
Yeah.
Which is I have a joke that went pretty viral, and I'm saying I'm the assistant manager of my family. Like sometimes I say
100%.
to my kids, like, I don't understand this either, but this is coming from corporate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like that kind of idea. So that joke got like picked up by someone who like has a podcast about weaponized incompetence, which is like a thing of like men being bad at household things so they don't have to do it, like that kind of thing. And so, it's one of those things. There's this talking head in front of my clip, and she's like, this is what we're talking about. This shitty dad is like, and I'm like, at first, I'm used to people saying you're ugly and you suck.
Yeah.
But at first I'm like, what? Like I'm an example of being a bad dad, you know what I mean? Or a bad husband. Or one of the jokes I had on there, what she was saying was cruel, is I said, if you're in a relationship, what you're saying to someone else is, I love you just the way you are. I just wish you were different.
Yeah.
And they were like, this cruelty towards your spouse. And
oh my God. That it's so annoying, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so annoying. It's so annoying but also what's good about that, if there's any good in it, is people really care what we say more than politicians, because we are truth tellers. Even though they're in joke form, there's a lot of truth in what we say. So we can talk about the BS out there, the bullshit out there, but they know we could also make it funny. You know what I mean? And I think that's why in politics, it's just, if they get a talking point, they say it all day long. With us, there's no talking points.
Yeah.
If we don't like something, we're going to talk about it. And here's what we don't like about it. If we see someone in our family, this is that. Yes, we're telling jokes to highlight it and make it funny. But the reason why people laugh is because they can identify with it. They've been in that. The problem, if you ever tell a joke and nobody laughs, then that's your problem. Like that's something only you're dealing with.
Yeah. I mean, that's the reality is, if no matter what the joke is, the most offensive joke, if people laugh, you can't say it wasn't funny.
No, you can say you didn't like it, but don't say it's not funny.
Yeah.
Oh, I've had jokes that, like when that Amber Heard thing was big, I told a joke about my son and daughter, and people go, "Oh, you catered to your daughter, you're raising an Amber Heard," like just saying crazy stuff, and I'm like, "Oh my God, these people today are horrible." These people that just want to pick up, because here's the thing. They don't really care. That woman didn't really. She's just trying to make a viral clip.
That's right.
That's it. She don't care what you said.
She has a thing. She has an agenda. I fit into it.
Yeah.
But I mean, the good thing was, like, I showed my kids almost like, oh, this is what. And then my kids were like, wait, she doesn't know you're joking? Do you know what I mean?
She does know you're joking.
And I'm like, no, she does. This is what I'm trying to show you, because they're always bringing me the latest internet. Whoever they're following, there's always a scandal, and usually it's not even true.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is, me. Here's a video about what a piece of shit I am. And this is a lot. You know what I mean? You gotta, like, this isn't real life. Do you know what I mean? It's not. So it was sort of a interesting thing for my kids to just be like, oh,
how people can flip stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, it's horrible out there. And now it seems like people want to just talk all the time during shows. Because I think the big thing right now, if you don't know, is posting clips, right? And most of those clips are crowd work because you don't want to burn your material. But what's happened is it kind of opened the door where people come to a show. And I've heard this. The reason why I'm saying, I've heard audience members go, "Oh, I can't wait to be part of," like they feel like they're part of the show as far as like yelling out stuff.
Yeah.
And I think, look, it's a phase. It'll last a couple years and then it'll go away. But I mean, how do you react to that, or you like that?
It used to be, I do put out some crowd work clips.
No, I think I do too.
Yeah.
But I'm saying now it's to the point where the audience is coming expecting that is the show.
And I don't love that.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be a defense mechanism. Like, you have to learn how to handle this if it comes up or whatever. But it's also like, now it never used to be plan A.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Where there are definitely some people, I'm thinking of like Ian Bagg or whatever.
Yeah.
Brilliant crowd work people. So it's always been around, but it is sort of changing the tone of the audience a little bit, where you can't, they yell out, whatever they yell out. And then it's like, I try not to get mad anyway, but if you get mad at them, they're like, what do you mean? This is comedy. This is what you'll probably put this on TikTok, or, you know what I mean? It is sort of an interesting, and then also I'll say, like, when I went to the New York Comedy Cellar, it's because everyone, I'm not saying names obviously, but it's a lot of people who do crowd work clips that I was on shows with. And when you're the fifth guy on stage going, how long you been married?
Yeah.
Where, you know what I mean? There is a point where you're like, man, I don't know. I kind of hope it is a phase, like you say.
No, it is. It is, because it's not, because I can already see, I think what's going to happen is these social media platforms are going to, okay, we're done with this.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be over it, and they're going to prioritize it less. When it blew up, and you had a couple comics blow up, and this is how I really saw the difference, is I remember when I first went on tour with Joe Coy, he says, whatever you do your set, but don't talk to the crowd. I want to be the first. I'm the headliner. Of course, you should be the only one to talk. Now, if I have people open for me, I don't know. They don't even have material. They're just crowd working the whole time. Like the whole time. Other time I went to one city, the host, and I said, go ahead, let them do the host in the feature. Both of them just crowd worked the whole time. And I had to go to manager and go, yo, man, like, I don't like people. And then that creates an environment where, oh, why don't you talk to us?
Yes.
Because I don't want to talk to you.
No,
because I'm here to do material.
That's the thing. They're like, well, now it's the headliner's turn to talk to us.
Yeah.
And then you got an act. You got a whole thing you want to do, and they're just like, yeah, but is this about me? No. Fucking pay your ticket and sit down.
Like I said, I got out of the industry for interviewing people, right? Because my whole job was interviewing celebrities.
Yeah.
Now I'm interviewing normal people. Like, no. I've done Denzel, Brad Pitt. Why would I want to interview you?
Yeah.
You know? Like, no, I refuse.
Point.
I refuse to just, but I have to. What I do is,
I love that. Yeah, you went from Denzel to like, so you're a plumber? So
I went to, so what I do now is, because it's fun to talk to the audience when you want.
Yeah.
Not them yet. So I go, hey, I'm going to talk to you after, I'm going to do my set. And then after, I'll give you 10 minutes, we can shoot. And that's where I get my clip. So I establish it up front. And then people are pretty cool. But when you have two people that just, and let me tell you, if you ever open, and this is for comics, if you're coming up and you open for a headliner, don't do crowd work, because you will never open for that person again. And that an established comic with material will be like, oh, this person doesn't have any material.
Yeah, if the headliner is a crowd work comedian, they don't want everything burned before they get there. If they're not, they don't want you to get the room all weird before they do their act.
Well, or they don't want you to set up the room for yelling and people shouting. It's just, I don't know. It's just courtesy, but I've done it twice now. And now if I use local comics, I'll tell the manager, because I don't want to be the guy. I just go, hey, give me comics with material. I don't want crowd work people at all.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean,
well, it has to be fair. You know, it's like, why? I don't know. Maybe I'm hating on crowd work people, but I don't know. It's just the way, and since it's my show, it's the way I was brought up. So I don't want that. I'm
opening for Jeff Foxworthy next week. I'm going to be a good boy.
That's
I'm gonna
right.
be clean because he's clean. That's the rules. It's not. Do you know what I mean?
Where can people find you? And I want to say once again, you're one of the funniest people out there.
Thank you.
I hope you freaking blow up, because you deserve it. And I think this Jeff Foxworthy thing is just the start. And of course, he crushes everywhere. Look at me. He crushes everywhere he goes. There's nothing left. When I walk on stage after, the building is just torn down. Like, literally, I'm outside with the audience after he performs. The building is just falls apart. That's how good he is. How can people see you?
Well, I mean, GabrielRutledge.com will get you all the spots, but Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I got 2 full-length shows on my YouTube. All those spots, man.
Okay, and also everything you need to know about Gabriel will be in the description right there. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Later.